Hello everyone and welcome back to Loops and Leather. So as promised, I am posting up here part 2 on the channel. My name is Lori. I'm the creator and fiber artist here at Loops and Leather. Spinning, weaving, crochet, all of that amazing stuff except knitting. Too funny. So we left off on part 1 where we had created just the body of the owl. So today we are going to go ahead and continue on with the remaining part of this square. We're going to do the perimeter of the owl square, and we're going to go ahead and construct the eyes and the nose. So there's a couple of ways you can do the eyes, and we'll kind of go over some of those when we get there. Okay. So we're still using our G hook like we were when we started, and hopefully you can see that. And I attach the same way, so I make a little cinch loop like that, stick my hook in and cinch that up, not super tight but enough that it's secure. Our applique or owl body where we left off, we're going to insert our hook right here, and we are going to pull up and slip stitch to get started. Okay, and again, we're not going to worry about this tail right now. We're going to catch that on the next round. This round we are just making arches all the way around the owl's body. So this is a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to try and be aware of where my hands are. So and then we're going to single crochet into the next space between our clusters from the previous round. So single crochet, then a 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet between the clusters of the previous round, and we're just going to do this all the way around. Alright, and now that we are at the last section before the next ear, we're going to continue so we don't stop just because we've reached the ear. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going to slip stitch just on the outside, or not slip stitch, sorry, single crochet just to the outside of the ear. And then we are going to continue around the back. The reason for that is because we need to have our square, our white square, continue behind the owl body. Okay, so we're going to do these attachments right here, right behind, and hopefully you can see this okay. We're going to attach it to the back by single crocheting into the back of the double crochet that we made in this round on the ears, but in such a way that you can't see it on the front side. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. So we are going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got our 4 chains, and we're just going to kind of tilt this forward, and you're looking for this chain space here, and we're going to go into the back of the double crochet right above it. So instead of doing a slip stitch into it, you're just going to catch the posts on the back of that single crochet or double crochet and do a single crochet just as if it were you know, any one of these other stitches, and then another chain 4, and again same thing, we've got this space right here between our clusters, so we're going to tip this forward and we're going to slide our hook into the back of that double crochet, do a single crochet, and then we're going to do a chain 4, the last one. I think that was right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are going to come back and we are going to join up in the first stitch where we started. Okay, All right, so now we have all of our little chain 4 arches all the way around. Okay, so from here we're going to start making the rest of the square. So in this first chain, we're going to slip stitch into this chain. Okay, and then we are going to chain 3. I hope everybody can see okay. And then we're going to make 3 double crochet. One, 2, and 3, and then we're going to do a chain 2, and then we're going to do 4 double crochet. This is making the first corner. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to chain 1. Okay, so now we've made our first corner. So we've got our starting chain plus 3 double crochet, a chain 2, and then 4 double crochet. So it ends up being 4 and 4 with a chain 2 in between. We have a chain 1 after that series, and then we are going to do 2 double crochet and 2 half double crochet in the next arch. One, 2, it's 2 double crochet. Now we're going to do 2 half double crochet. 1, 2, and we are going to chain 1 again. We're going to chain 1 between each set. Then we're going to do 4 half double crochets in this middle one. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and chain 1. Now we're going to kind of work in reverse here. We're going to do 2 half double crochets and 2 double crochets in the next. So 2 half double crochets, and then 2 double crochet. That's 1, and a chain 1. Okay, and then we're going to make our next corner. So we're going to do 4 double crochet, chain 2, 4 double crochet. One, 2, 3, 4. And don't worry if you feel like you're running out of space, you just kind of slide those over. There's plenty of room there. Chain 2, and then 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Chain 1. And we're going to repeat this series all the way around. So our next arch we're doing 2 double crochet and 2 half double crochet. And then we're going to make our 4th corner. So again, 4 double crochet, chain 2, 4 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 2, slide those over there, and then 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 1, just like all your other sides. You're just going to continue on. You should have 3 arches left. So we're behind the ears, we're going to do the 2 double crochet, 2 half double crochet, chain 1, then 4 half double crochet, chain 1, and then 2 half double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 1, and we're going to join to our starting chain 3. All right, so now we've got the foundation of our square. It may seem a little bit wonky right now, but as we get the next rounds crocheted, it evens itself out and it'll look great. Okay everyone, so we have joined to the first chain 3 of the previous round, and now we're going to continue on. We're not fastening off. We're going to chain 3, okay, and then we're going to double crochet in the next 3 spaces. Now your first double crochet is kind of tucked right in here, right here, so make sure you don't skip that. So you want 3 double crochets before you get to the corner. All right, so we have a 1, oops, 2, 3, and then in the corner we're going to do the same thing we did in the previous round. So we're going to double crochet 2, chain 2, and I'm sorry, not the previous round. In this round we are going to double crochet 2, chain 2, and double crochet 2 again. Okay, so, and this keeps our corner and it grows with the rest of the square. Chain 2, we're kind of making our turn here. 1 and 2. And then we are going to crochet or double crochet all the way down the side. We are skipping the chain 1 spaces from the previous round, so we're not going to double crochet in the chain 1 space. And also remember, your first chain double crochet spaces again tucked in the corner right here, so make sure you don't miss that. So we're going to go, I believe it's 20 double crochet down the side. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We are not double crocheting in this space, but we are going to pick up our first double crochet right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that gives us a total of 8 double crochets so far down the side. We are not double crocheting in this chain 1 space again, so but we do have to get that first stitch. So 1, 2, it's a little tight, 3, and 4. Gives us a total of 12 so far. And then we're skipping the chain 1 and we're doing the next 4. So that's actually 13, 14, 15, 16, skipping. This is 17, 18, 19, and 20. So you have 20 double crochet from one corner. And once you get past that corner, you've got 20 double crochet down the side. And then we're going to do the same thing in this corner. 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet again in the same corner space. There's our chain 2, 2 double crochet. And we're just going to repeat this all the way around, including behind the ears. You're just going to treat it like any other side. So you're going to do 20 double crochet, and then in the corner 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, and continue all the way around. So I will meet you back when we've completed this round. Alright, so I have to say, while I was finishing this round, this is the coolest thing. I actually have an owl hooting outside of my window. I wish I could capture it so that you guys can hear it. It is the coolest thing. One of the wonderful things about living out in the country. Alright, so we completed this round, and so we're basically just repeating one more time around. So if you look at the sample here, we have our initial loops, and then we have our first round where we had the graduating heights of our stitches from double crochet down to half double crochet and then back up again. Then we just completed this second round here. We're going to do the third one, and it's the exact same way, except there are a few more stitches. So rather than 20, I believe that there are 24, we'll count. But you're going to slip stitch to the top of the chain 3 to finish off this round, and then you're going to chain 3 again. We are going to double crochet up to the corner, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. So we'll double crochet 1, 2, oops, 3, 4, and my gosh, 5. Crocheting with white and working with white yarn is almost as bad as working with black. It just shows every little speck of everything. Alright, and in the corner we're going to do 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet in the same corner space. So there's 2, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochet in that same space, and you can slide those stitches over a little bit if you need to. There is room there. Okay, and then we are going to crochet all the way down the side, and I believe it ends up being a total of, I believe, 28 stitches for each side, including the corners. So I think you're going to go 26, but we'll see here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and then we're going to make the corner. Okay? So, we're going to pick up our first double crochet again. Make sure you don't miss it because it's right there in the corner. It's like offset to the right just a little bit. Alright, so we are going to go all the way down the side. And when we get to the next corner, we're going to do the same thing in the corner. It's 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet right in that corner space. Okay. All right. So we're coming up on the end of this round, and we are going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 from the previous round. And we are going to go ahead and fasten that off. My scissors here. And just pull through like that and fasten it off. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the eyes, and we're also going to fasten down those ears and the nose. So if you need a minute, go ahead and finish that, and we're going to need the black yarn. And if you want to use something finer for the black, it makes it a little less bulky. You can also use like safety eyes. I just prefer, you know, I don't know who's going to end up with this blanket, and I prefer not to use the safety eyes because they have that metal backing and stuff on there. I suppose in something like this it wouldn't be bad because it would be between the white and the color. So safety eyes might work great on this. Just make sure you know that if you're doing this for an infant or a really young child, that we aren't doing anything that was going to present a choking hazard. So safety eyes. You can use buttons, but again, you know, buttons can be a choking hazard. So just keep in mind who the recipient is. In this case, I just crochet them because I have loads of yarn and I don't want to have to go out and buy buttons or buy safety eyes. I just crochet them. It's a little bit fiddly, but you know, it's effective. It works, and so that's what I'm going to do here. You can do whatever you know, works best for you. So alright, so go ahead, grab your black yarn. We have the white already, and meet me back here in just a minute and we will continue on. Okay, so I have my black yarn here. I just use scraps, like, you know, whatever I have left over from another project. We're using the same size hook, and we're going to make the white of the eye and the pupil. Okay, so let's get this aside. Alright, so we're going to take the black yarn and we are going to make a double magic ring. This is super simple. So it's that double wrap around your fingers, cross over, and then you're going to pull through a loop and a single crochet. Okay, we're going to single crochet around 8 single crochets into the circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to get our little tail. We're going to pull that to figure out which one is sliding with us. You can see this okay. So we're pulling to see which one's moving. So it's pulling this one. So we actually want to take the other end of that one and cinch up the other ring first. If you do this in the wrong order, it won't pull through. And sometimes even when you do it in order, it's tight. But that's what makes it so secure. Okay? And then we are going to slip stitch to the first single crochet in this round. You got to kind of wiggle your hook in there because this is tight. We are going to slip stitch, and we're going to fasten off, and it's that simple. You're going to make 2 of these per owl, and you're going to leave yourself a tail. So you want tails because we're going to have to attach them to the white of the eye. So you snip your working yarn and just pull that through. Give it a little pull, and at this point you should be you know, pretty secure. Okay, so now we're going to make the white of the eye. Sorry for that little hiccup there. I ran out of space on my memory card, so I had to move some of the media to the computer. So, okay, so we're going to take the same white that we have been using throughout the project, and we're going to leave a long tail on this one because we have quite a bit of sewing to do around the eye when we attach it to the owl, the body of the owl. So make sure you leave yourself a tail. And we're going to do a magic circle again, so we're wrapping around twice and crossing over on the back, taking our hook, and we're going to slide that under, grab our yarn, and then pull up a single crochet here. And then we are going to get our fingers out of there. We're going to do 8 single crochets in the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you want to kind of make sure that you're holding your loop so that your crochets are kind of in line. You don't want them twisting around. You know, you can always adjust a little bit, but I just try and keep them as close in line as I can. And again, we're going to pull our tail to see which loop is getting pulled. So it's pulling up this way. So I'm going to grab this end, which will then pull on that, and it's going to cinch up the other loop that we made. We're going to pull it pretty good and tight, not too tight to break your yarn, but you want, you know, close. You don't want a hole. And then you're going to take your working yarn and you're going to pull on that. Whoops, sorry, not your working yarn, your tail. Pull on your tail, and that should secure that in the back. And then we are going to slip stitch to the first single crochet, and then we are going to do 2 crochet in each stitch around. So we're going to end up with 16 total. Let me get this through there. There we go. Okay, so we're going to chain 1. That'll count as 1. And so then we're going to single crochet in that same stitch. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're back at the beginning, so it's a little stiff. 16, and we are going to slip stitch to that first stitch again. Okay, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to go around again, but we're going to do a single crochet, then 2 single crochet, single crochet, 2 single crochet. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I count when I'm doing this because sometimes I lose track when I'm working in a circle, but I know I'm kind of working in multiples of 3. So I've got a 1 and then a 2, so I've got 6 so far. And this is our last group of 3, 22, 23, 24, and then we're going to slip stitch to that first stitch, and we're going to fasten that off. And again, we want to leave a pretty good tail. Okay, I might have a little bit extra there, but I'd rather have extra than not enough. Alright, so you've got 24 stitches around when you finish on the white. There's 8 stitches around on the pupil. Okay. Alright, and what I like to do, if you see on the example, there's a little white, almost like a highlight on the eye. It just gives it a little bit of character. You don't have to do it that way. I just like it. So, alright. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to take the white and we are going to sew one of the pupils onto the white. So make sure you've got it the right side up. And I use my tails whenever possible. So in this case, I know I've got this, this tail on the back, and I've got this little tail coming off the side. So I'm actually going to run. You can either use your yarn needle or your hook if you can get your hook. I'm not going to get that up through there, so let me just put this on the needle. I need a fatter eye, or a bigger eye on my yarn needle. So I'm just going to get the end through there, and I'm going to run that right through the middle of the white. And I'm going to position it. I did that one kind of off to the side a little bit. I think I'm going to make this one right in the middle. So I'm just going to let that tail go through the back, and then I'm going to grab the longer tail that I have here. I'm going to use this one to actually sew it onto the white, and then I'm going to use this back one to tie it off. So I'm getting my white tails kind of out of the way, and I'm going to run this down through the stitch next to it, and you're just kind of going around and securing it onto the white. Make sure you're skipping a stitch in the back, or else it's not actually going to be attached. I've done that before. Okay. Go down, make sure we're over one. You don't necessarily have to do every single stitch around, but you want to make sure that you've got it good and secure, because you want to be able to wash this, and if you don't have it good and secure, you don't want you don't want the eyes to come off. Okay, so I'm back at the beginning. Got it pretty secure, so I'm going to go down back through that first stitch again, and you can see I've got the one tail through the middle, and I've got this one through, actually pierce that a little bit, through a different stitch. So I just pull out the take this out of the needle, and I just tie this. It's not going to go anywhere. So I'm tying this on the back, and it's going to be hidden as well. So just like if you're using buttons or safety eyes, it's going to be hidden against the body of the owl. So I just make that a nice secure knot, and then I'm going to cut my tails. I'm not going to cut right up against my knot, but you do want to make sure that you're cutting it so that it falls to the inside of the white. Again, sometimes when you make components like this, when you wash them, if the tail's too long and it's kind of squished up underneath there, when you wash it, all of a sudden it'll be poking out of the edge, so you don't want it to do that. Alright, so we've got our pupil sewn on, and so now we're going to take our white and we're going to sew onto the body of the owl. And we're going to decide where we want this. So I know, you know, this one's a little bit lower. Because they're both orange, I'm just making them a little bit different. I'm going to have these eyes be a little up closer to the ears. But I want them to just about touch in the middle, so we're going to double check our placement and make sure that they're going to be pretty even as far as how close they are to the sides and to the ears themselves. So that's pretty good. I can have them touching, that's fine, and they'll land to the inside of the owl body. If I put them right here, or even down just a touch, that'll give me a little bit more play. So, hold that in place. I've got my tail. I'm just going to lift this up and I'm going to go down through the back. And again, I'm just going to stick that through. And I have it back there to tie onto. And some extra if I need it for around the edge. And now I'm going to take the other tail and we're going to sew this all the way around. So I'm going to go into the stitch. Make sure I'm not piercing my yarn. Okay. And I'm going to come up. Alright, and so from here I'm going to make this little accent. So I'm just going to come up into the middle of the pupil. And then you can make it, you know, wherever you want. If you want to go left, right, up, down, you know, like however you want. I just kind of do it diagonally over to the side. And if you want to, you can even do two to make it thicker. Or you could make it a little V shape if you want. I just do the one, it's simple and easy. And so that eye is secure. So now I'm going to use my tail again. And I'm not going to pull my yarn off because I might have to, this will be one of the few things that I actually have to weave in. Okay, and you want your little highlights to go in the same direction so that it looks like it's actually like a reflection of light. And again, we're just going to sew all the way around the white to attach it. And I will meet you back once we've got this on. And we will affix the ears and do the nose. Alright, y'all. See you in a minute. Okay, so here we are. We've got both eyes sewn on. I've got some white left on my needle, and I'm actually going to use that to secure the top corner ear here. So you want it to be close to the edge, but you don't want it to interfere or go over that single crochet on the edge, because we're going to use that edge to join our squares together. So you can take it right up to the edge there, and again, what I'll do, and I know there's, you know, probably other ways to do this. This is just how I do it. You know, do what works for you. but I just will kind of get it started here with a small knot on the back, and then I'm going to kind of space those just like this, and I'm going to come up from the back. I'm not going to come all the way through the stitches. I just want to grab some of the back stitches so that it's kind of hidden. So I'm grabbing the backs of my double crochets, and I'm going to go back down through the back, and I'm going to come up one more time, and I am going to grab just the tip of this stitch here and go back down through, and that will secure that nicely. And then from here, again, I can tie off using the tail for my first knot ever so gently. We really don't want to pull too much because we don't want it to, you know, bunch up or distort our square. Alright, and then I'm just going to run this tail through the backs of these stitches here. Loop it around, back through, and I will clip this off. Okay, on this end, one thing I do sometimes is run my crochet hook underneath in between stitches and grab it that way to just pull it underneath and hide it. Just make sure you're not, you know, pulling it across the front where you can see it. Okay. Tail from the eye that we sewed on. We're going to put this in. Again, I'm just going to run underneath some stitches. Back over to the other eye there. And then I'll come back this way. I'll snip that. And that's not too bad. You know, I suppose you could get really fussy about how you weave in ends, but it's the back of the blanket. You want it to be neat, but I'm not stressing too much about it. It's the back. Then for the other side of the ear, I am going to take the orange tail that I have here. In this case it's orange if you're doing a different color, but you're just going to grab the tail from the ear, and again you're going to take it right up to the edge. I run it right down through that double crochet so that that's secure. I'll come up through the tip. This one's a little bit easier to sew on because it's the same color. And then I'm going to use this one to tie onto the back. And again, you don't want to do it too tight or you are going to pull over the edge of your square. So we don't want to do that. Okay. And then once again, we are going to hide those tails, weave them in, and snip, and the body of the owl is complete. And for the nose, I'm using this light tan taupey. You can use whatever color you want. I'm making them kind of subtle You could make them very bold if they're super cute, but work with whatever color scheme you're going with, and you know, do what you like. Again, you have creative license. So this is a matter of just making a V. So I'm going to come up. I want to go down one more. Here we go. So I'm going to come up. I'm going to leave a tail on the back. I'm going to come up center to right about there. And you're just going to have to, and you just keep coming up from that bottom and going like I make a V shape, and then you're filling in. So you just keep going up from the center. And if you feel like it's not quite big enough, you can always make it wider or taller just by you know, adjusting where your needle's coming up. I want to make it a little bit taller. Just work my way across. I think they may even sell noses in a triangle shape, but I've got plenty of scraps of yarn to use. And I'm just filling this in. And then the other thing that I'll do is I'll come across the top from one side to the other to fill in that top some more. And then kind of go above it and back down to the tip. And it helps define the nose a little bit. Alright, and then on the back, same thing. I just make a knot and then weave in my ends, and this owl is done. I had a question about how many to make. So for this pattern, I am alternating between the owls and the flower motif that we're going to do next. So if you, depending on how wide you want, or how large overall you want your Afghan or blanket, like if you're making a lap blanket, you may only want it to be 3 squares across and 3 squares down, or 4, you know, like 3 squares across, 4 rows down. But if you start at the top and you have like owl, flower, owl, and the next row you would do flower, owl, flower. So you're alternating. So you have to kind of figure out, depending on how big you're going to make it, how many owls you need. If you're only doing a total of 9 squares, so 3 across and 3 down, you would need 5 owls. If you're going to do, you know, it bigger, you would just, the next row, you know, you would be adding 1 or 2 depending on how you're alternating. If you're doing all owls, obviously you would just make as many owls as you need for the overall size of your blanket. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up so that everybody can be working on their owls. And then I'm going to go ahead and move on to the flower motif and assembly. Okay? Everybody have an awesome evening. Thanks so much for joining me. I appreciate you following me and subscribing. If you have questions, don't hesitate to comment below, and I will put links to part 1, and you know, so that it's easy for you to get to the other parts if you need to start from the body of the owl. So have a great night. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there. Bye bye.